You are at the Almighty Church of Rock. It's a Sunday night. And of course, we always like to interview and chat with some of our favorite rock and punk rock, rockers in the world. And tonight is no exception, that's for sure. I'm really happy to have someone on the line that I'm a fan of. I've been listening to his music on and off for many decades. He's got a new album coming out soon. We'll find out about that and so much more. But right now, let's see if the phone line is working correctly, which I believe it is. Introducing Greg from... Well, GREGG Turner, you know him from the Angry Samoans and the GREGG Turner Band. How's it going, Greg?
Doing well.
Awesome, man. I know you have been doing some hustling and bustling, so thanks for making the time.
Yeah, no problem.
I know you have a new album coming. I'm going to cut right to the chase. We all know about the past, but real quick, you have a new album coming out in a couple of weeks. What's going on with that, Greg?
Well, it's called, the title is Songs for Sparrow, and there's about 50 minutes of music, and the LP vinyl version is going to be out in March, unfortunately, because pressing plants are so backed up now from COVID. But the CD version will be out in about 2 weeks, and I really think it's the best thing I've ever done. I mean, the two solo albums before that were a little bit, in the vein of Rocky and Jonathan Richman and things like that, which is fine.
Yeah.
But this is more, I think, original stuff that has a lot of variety to it, so I'm excited about it.
Wow, that's interesting. Do you have a lot of people on the album, or is it mostly you?
No, it's my band. I have a band now. It's by the GREGG Turner Group, and I have my bassist and second vocalist is Sarah Meadows. I have a drummer, David. I have a lead guitarist from LA who's just superb, and Sarah plays bass also. So it's essentially a four-piece with a lead guitarist sending files in from LA.
Yeah, and
of course, the electric auto harp player, Bill Miller, who used to play in the Aliens behind Rocky Erickson.
That's right, because the first gig you guys played with Angry Samoans was opening for Rocky Erickson, who didn't show because he was he missed it or sick or something.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
That was Rocky Erickson and the Aliens in Richmond, California. Yeah, I made a note that he was sick, but his band played, right? And you guys did get to open up for his band.
Yeah, Dwayne, their lead guitarist, sang Rocky's parts, and he sounded a lot like Rocky, so people who weren't in the know, I think, didn't get it, but it was fine.
That's wild, man. And just off topic, just because I think listeners might find this interesting, one of the members of the Angry Samoans, Metal Mike Saunders, actually was credited, I believe, for coining the term heavy metal as a music genre while he was writing for Rolling Stone magazine. Is this true?
It's a little controversial. Other people have claimed it. Sandy Pearlman, who used to manage and produce Blue Oyster Cult, wrote some review in Crawdaddy before that where he claims he coined the term. But Saunders was one of them.
Because Alice Cooper also says he was the first.
Right, yeah. Well, whatever.
Right, there you go. I know you've done a lot since the Samoans and stuff, but I remember being a young punk rocker back in central Illinois in the 80s and just loving the Angry Samoans. It was, kind of like a comedic, nihilistic punk rock band that just wasn't afraid to speak the truth, but also have fun with it. And I know you guys wrote a song, which is infamous. I'm sure you're sick of talking about it over the years, but just quickly, you guys wrote a song that was aimed at KROQ FM, DJ Rodney Bingenheimer, which was called Get Off the Air. And of course, you guys were sort of blacklisted for a couple of years because of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, can we say profanity on the air?
We're not supposed to because of the FCC. If you could just maybe...
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just checking. But we had a verse that... one was like 8 p.m. and Rodney's on the air. He's, whacking off in Joan Jett's hair. Christmas Eve, and what do you got? 4 hours of Phil Spector rot. So that got him up in arms. I don't know why he was so sensitive. And he wound up banning us from every club in the city because he had this radio show that was widely listened to, and he bribed all the bands that refused to let us play on their shows with extra airtime. So the first bands that lined up behind him, go figure, were the Go-Go's, X, all the Hollywood bands. So we wound up playing the skate shows way out in the suburbs where hardcore really started. And it was sort of by accident. We weren't playing really fast stuff, but we got scared and thought they'd beat us up if we didn't triple time it. So we did. And then we were playing with like Social D and TSOL, bands like that, and gained a following because of that. It was really strange.
Yeah, and the Samoans' first release, Inside My Brain, was one of the earliest of the hardcore punk albums to come out of the 1980s LA punk scene, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, our stuff was meant to have a sense of humor in a wacky way, more ironic than just funny per se. But we thought when punk rock morphed to hardcore in LA, and all these jocks infiltrated and were beating the crap out of everybody, we thought that was so patently ridiculous and stupid.
Yeah.
That we thought, all right, let's write a song about poking your eyes out, and let's write a song about this, but no one got it. They thought we were serious.
Right. Yeah, and these days you'd be crucified for having a sense of humor like that. Back then, we get like guys like the Meat Men and all kinds of people were doing satire, but it was just a joke, basically. Having a laugh.
We certainly weren't woke back then, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, man. I like that. Did you guys get a lot of crap? I know, obviously, it was a lot of satire. Were there a lot of people that just didn't get the joke that would kind of like maybe take it the wrong way and give you guys flack back then?
Yeah, I mean, just the politics. We were, punk kids from the San Fernando Valley, and so we were sort of ostracized from Hollywood to begin with. And then the whole nature of the band, Saunders and I put it together after Vom, and we went after celebrity. The whole idea of fame and fortune and celebrity worship in LA made us just nauseous. And so like Rodney and Kim Fowley and all those people just were easy, ripe targets to go after, but that didn't create any, friends for us. So sooner or later we would have been banned anyway. But, I think the people that got it were really rabid fans, and the ones that didn't just went to X.
Did you guys ever make it onto the New Wave Theater TV show?
Oh, several times, yeah.
Yeah, I remembered seeing some. I used to get it on a cable broadcast at like 3 a.m. in Illinois, and I was like, I know I saw the Samoans on there, so I just had to verify that. We
got a big reaction when we played that and did the song out from our hardcore Back from Samoa record called "They Save Hitlers," and it rhymes with sock.
Yeah. And, it's funny. I don't think that's even one of the words that we can't say on radio, but, people are so sensitive. And it was a really funny song that's one of the cool classic punk songs that I think of when I think of that era. I love that tune.
Well, the best lyric I ever wrote in my life was, if Hitler's sock could choose its mate, it would ask for Sharon Tate. I can't top that.
I always tell people that is one of the most genius lines. And again, you got to look at the dates. Today's date is everything's so PC and weird today, but even to me, it's still funny. We even had a debate of whether we should play that song tonight, and my co-host was like, "I don't think we should do it." And I'm like, I don't think there's going to be any repercussions if we do. It's a joke, man. So I think we're going to play the song, and I don't think it's that big a deal.
If they get upset over the word, tell them it's about a pigeon or a bird or something.
A rooster, yeah.
A rooster, something.
Yeah. You did leave the Samoans right around 1992. Wasn't it after the Santa Fe album?
No,
Or you released Santa Fe with The Mistaken when you left Samoans.
Yeah, right. I finished my PhD in 91 and was looking for a job, but in math, the job market had bottomed out so bad that there were 200 and 300 apps for each tenure track position at a university.
Wow.
So I stuck around LA for a couple of years. I recorded the Mistaken record, and then I moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico, because there was a teaching job there.
Well, awesome. And, something else that was interesting, Greg, I didn't know until I was doing some research, and I was a big reader of Cree Magazine in the 70s and 80s. I didn't know that you were a writer for Cree Magazine from the late 70s through the mid 80s. Wow.
Yeah, 12 years. Yeah, I mean,
wow.
My first album review was Iggy Pop's "Lust for Life," and I trashed it. And apparently, he's never forgotten that, because there was some interview with him asking if he'd like to be a part of a Cream Magazine reunion. He goes, "No effing way."
Wow.
But I got to write things like I reviewed a Ted Nugent record where I reviewed it as a Dear Ted letter, and I said you should consider picking up a Gibson Melody Maker, because they're really easy guitars to learn how to play on.
What did Ted respond?
He wanted to know where I lived. He phoned the editors and said he was going to hunt me down with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me with Nugent, man. He probably would have.
Yeah, well, but I could do stuff like that at Cream, and then I start writing features on Rocky Erickson, and I did an interview with Ozzy and Lemmy from Motorhead, and they were the sweetest people in the world. Ozzy took me to lunch at an Indian restaurant in Hollywood and kept showing me pictures of his dog and his kids.
Wow, just you and Ozzy at a restaurant, in Mexican restaurant?
Yeah, I mean, he kept saying, "I'd like the curry spicy, please."
That is so cool. Now, did you hang out with Lemmy at the Rainbow or somewhere else?
No, he was playing, I believe, the Palomino Club in North Hollywood, and I did the interview there, and he was very hospitable, very charitable, and asking, let me ask any question I want, and was giving me extra details. Nice guy.
Interesting. That is so cool because reading Cream all those years, I definitely read your stuff because I read it cover to cover, man. So, yeah, cheers on that.
It was fun.
I know.
It was a lot of fun writing for Cream.
Well, and I know a lot of different things have happened with the name, the Samoans, over the years. I'm not sure about this one, so I'm kind of asking as a fan. But in 2010, I know the band was playing the Legend stage on the Vans Warped Tour. Were you with the band then?
No, there was. I stopped in '93. '91 was officially the last show.
Okay.
And then Saunders couldn't let it go, and he and the drummer start using the name. And for the next 15 years, on and off, were using it, and they were dreadful. I've seen videos and listened to tapes, and it was just, I cringe every time. It was so bad.
Yeah.
And we've had offers to redo the reunion stuff like the circle jerks and things like that, because there's a lot of currency in that, but not for us because they ruined the whole legend of the band name. I mean,
what a bummer.
People would think it's them again. So, which is fine. I wouldn't do it anyway, but it was just horrible.
Well, I'm glad you got your PhD. You don't need to fall back on nickels and dimes on punk rock.
Well, no, I mean, that was the idea. Let's see, it was 80. Well, I was 28 years old. And it was like 84 that I realized, I wasn't going to get a lifetime paycheck for the Samoans. So I went back to grad school to do a quick master's degree just to teach. But then I got infected with all these really lunatic professors that were so disassociated. And I was just in love. I mean, I was a groupie for this one guy that used to lecture in the air, and this one guy that wrote with both hands at the same time on the board. Things like that. I thought, God, you can get away with this doing this stuff.
That's great.
And so I just kept going and finished.
Well, I appreciate that information, bro. And can you tell us again the name of your upcoming album?
Yeah, it's called Songs for Sparrow on XXX Records. And as I said, it should be out in about 2 weeks. We're going to start sending it out to radio stations and podcasts and things like that. I have a new book out, too.
Oh, what's that called?
It's called Hallucinations from Hell, Confessions of an Angry Samoan.
Wow, I can't wait to read that now.
Everybody thinks from the title it's a memoir of us or the punk scene, but it isn't. There's a couple music stories, one about Rocky and one about the band, but most of it are just short stories of unrelated stuff that are pretty wacky, of things I've lived through.
How do people find that stuff?
You can get it from Amazon, or you can order it directly from the publisher at rarebirdlit.com.
Nice, and that's the Gregg Turner Band, correct?
No, that's just my book, Gregg Turner.
Oh, I meant for the songs the new album.
Oh, for the CD, I'm just not sure right now what we're set up, how to sell it. But if people are welcome to email me, and I can steer them or send them copies.
There you go. What's your email?
My email is Gregg, GREGG, at GreggTurner.com.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you taking the time tonight and sharing a few stories and telling us about your upcoming. And, when the new album's out, please let me know. We would love to play it on the show to help promote it, bro.
Oh, I'd love that. That'd be great. I'm really proud of it. I just think I'm very rarely satisfied with things that I do musically. This is the first project I've done that I'm really happy with.
Right. Well, my co-host and co-producer, Sister Tracy's just been listening, but she would probably like to say hello before we say goodbye.
Okay.
I would. Hi, Greg. How are you?
Hi, Tracy. I'm doing okay.
Thanks so much for taking the time to be on the show tonight. We really appreciate
it's fun,
it.
And I appreciate your interest. That's always nice.
Absolutely.
Well, cool, man. Everyone, check it out when you get a chance. The info's been given. We'll be playing music from the Gregg Turner Band in the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, Greg, thanks a million, and I hope everything works out with you, and I hope your family is healthy and safe, bro.
Great. I appreciate the interest and attention. Thanks so much.
Yeah, rock on, and thanks for all the good music.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers.